Hey guys, and welcome back to another episode of Federico Talks Watches. Today I'm answering some of your questions again, such as, what is the watch I regret selling the most? And should you service your entry-level luxury watch that you spent $500 to $1,000 buying? All that and more in today's episode. Now, of course, before we get started, customary wristwatch check. Today I'm wearing the Girard-Perregaux Laureato Evo 3 Big Date Moon Phase Power Reserve. Discontinued a while ago. Absolutely love these. GP is still a fantastic value in today's market. And also, guys, don't forget to check out DelReyWatch.com. We just got in some very interesting watches. Oh, I got an itch. Some very interesting watches, including the least expensive in the United States, unworn, Mad 1 edition made by the guys over at MB&F. This is the red dial version. Absolutely killer. And of course, hell of a deal at Delray Watch. We just got in the Omega Seamaster, the green dial. Also one of the least expensive out there. This one is kind of the competitor to the Hulk. That's what people are saying. They're very hard to find, but we just got one in. And the black dial Royal Oak 15400 box papers, service box papers, and just fully serviced by AP this year. Also the least expensive one available. Boy, do we guys give you great deals. All at DelReyWatch.com, link in the description below. Anyway, guys, these are some of the questions you asked me over at Federico Talks Watches on Instagram. A few times a month, I put up a Q&A picture. When you see that, feel free to ask your questions. When I get enough questions, I take the picture down. Please do not DM me, as I do not check it. But in no particular order, we start with 10X Sean, a very good friend of the channel and personally. And he says, "Hey Fed, long time no speak. I hope you're well." Thanks, my man. "What are your thoughts on Jean-Claude Bivet's involvement with the micro brand Norqain? Do you think it would solidify the potential long-term success for the brand?" Interesting question. Well, firstly, I don't necessarily call or consider Norqain to be a micro brand. They're a full-blown brand, a very new one, but they have a deal with Tudor to use their movements. Their founder was involved with Breitling. They have ADs in the United States now, all things that separate them from a micro brand. I think Jean-Claude Bivet, who is the master of marketing, has seen how quickly this brand has gone from nothing to, a brand that has some substance to it. And he jumped on board, and I'm sure the Norqain guys are happy to have him, because if there's one thing Jean-Claude Bivet knows how to do, it's sell watches. Do I think he brings legitimacy to the brand? Absolutely. Do I think the brand has a strong future? Also absolutely. Already the people they have on board, they know what they're doing. And actually, I know the managing director for the US. We've had a drink a couple of times, and if you're watching this, you're doing a great job, brother. But yes, Norqain absolutely is happy to have JCB on board. I think JCB is happy to collaborate, and I do think it brings a little something extra to the brand. Fran Esposto. "Hey Fed, what are your thoughts on engraving watches with personal messages and images?" Hey Fran, I actually love the idea, but you need to think of it before you do it. What type of a watch collector are you? Are you the type that keeps things forever? If you are and you're that romantic type, then engrave away. I think there's nothing more beautiful than engraving a special message on a watch that you got for a special occasion. If, on the other hand, you, not necessarily a flipper, but someone who knows they like to rotate their collection, you trade stuff in, trade stuff out, well, then engraving can have an effect on the value of your watch. Even though a lot of the times you can polish it out, it probably isn't a good idea to engrave. That being said, I love the idea. It depends what type of collector are you. A forever collector or someone who gets bored and gets in and out of watches. I think that should determine the fact on whether you do it or not. Ante808. "Hey Fed, great channel. Thank you. What is your take on owning and servicing cheap automatic watches, $500 to $1,000? This is interesting. What is my take on owning them? I love them. I have a few mechanical watches under that price point. I have the Seiko SKX, my Hamilton Khaki Field Automatic, a Swatch System 51. No problem with owning them. Absolutely love them. I think watches at all price points can bring you joy. Even though I have a lot more expensive pieces, I do love the less expensive ones as well. What are my thoughts on servicing them? Well, most of the time it just is not worth it. I mean, if you have $1,000 automatic, with an ETA, yes, I mean, on the low end, you can service it for $250 to $300 from a reputable watchmaker, but that's 30% the price of the watch. If you have $1,000 $7750, well, then servicing could cost half the price of the watch. If you have a Seiko, well, then it's just cheaper to buy a new movement. If you have an emotional attachment to that particular piece and you want it serviced, go for it. But most of the time, it is not cost effective to do so. But that doesn't mean you shouldn't do it. Everybody has different reasons for servicing a watch or not. I've serviced my Hamilton. I bought my Hamilton for $400. I serviced it for $250. Was it worth it? No, but I just wanted my Hamilton. It's not rational, but I wanted it, so therefore I did it. But it's something to keep in mind for sure. Pocket watch time. What do you think of co-branded limited editions like the Zodiac Super Seawolf Meteorite by Watch.com or the Doxa Army Ceramic by Watches of Switzerland? What do I think? I think they don't really have much importance. What does that mean? If I like the watch, I like it, and that's great, and I'll buy it. But the fact that it's co-branded doesn't really mean much to me at all, unless it's something very special, like two big-time names, right? So what's a good co-branding? I'm trying to think off the top of my head. You kind of caught me off guard, like JLC and Aston Martin. I think that was a pretty cool collaboration that was not very well received at the time, but now is pretty cool. But most of the time, these are just limited edition watches so that the retailer has something special to sell and the brand has something to sell the retailer. If it's a cool version of the watch, then I say it's awesome. Go for it. But the fact that it's co-branded means almost nothing to me, personally, most of the time. Mucho Mo. Hey Fed, what is your most regretted sold watch? Well, on a personal level, has to be my Omega Speedmaster Apollo 14 Missions. Very hard to find watch, extremely hard to find at the time. I sold it for, I think, $6,000 or $7,000 roughly, which was 3-4 times what a Speedmaster was worth. I wasn't really wearing it that much. I thought I got a great deal, and I still did get a great deal. I don't think they've climbed all that much more. But then I quickly noticed I couldn't replace it. And even though it was just a Speedmaster with a patch on the dial, it was cool. And the story at the time, how I got it, was cool. That's for another video. But I needed the money more than I needed the watch at the time. I wanted to move into something else, and that's great. But yes, I regret selling it because I'll never be able to replace it. And I love that it was just a normal Speedmaster with a touch of flair. So that is probably one I wouldn't sell again. Basil's Bezels. Hey, Federico, if you could bring Del Rey watch in your team anywhere in the world to operate, where would it be? Interesting question. Lifestyle? I'd probably go to Europe. But honestly, for business, there's, in my humble opinion, no best place than the US. The watch market is super robust here. I think the laws are favorable to entrepreneurs in this country. We have everything set up and we're running very, very smoothly. Hong Kong is another hot watch market, but I don't know. I would have to explore the market from scratch to operate there. I'm pretty darn happy running this business from the US. And I think from a business perspective, the US is the perfect location for me and for an online watch store. I don't know if we can be called a startup anymore. It's been 6 years, but you know what I mean. Anyway, guys, that is it for today. Please give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it. Really does help. Please subscribe so you don't miss any more content. And of course, I'll catch you in the next one. Take care.